The dramatic 10x goal setting of hustle culture is wrong. Full stop. A few days ago, I had my 29th birthday, and with every birthday, I take some time to reflect and look back at the things that I was able to accomplish in the past year. And the biggest thing that I've noticed that I completely changed was revamping the way that I set my goals. Today, I'm going to break down the 3 ways that I overhauled the way I set my goals to be able to accomplish dramatically more, and do it without the constant overbearing weight of rewards that just seem slightly too far out of reach. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. And from the smallest daily habits to achieve the greatest ambition, we just bought our second investment property. Those votes matter. Let's talk about how this compounding effect can change your life. So before we get into why I stopped setting goals, we have to elaborate on the compound effect. When most people hear the compound effect, they think of investing in the stock market. While this is true, and that has definitely had a positive long-term impact on my life, what I'm talking about is how small, seemingly insignificant changes can have dramatic long-term impacts. One of those small changes I've made is listening to 10 minutes of an audiobook every day. So let me illustrate the effect this has with this professionally designed diagram. Think of it this way. If you were to stand on the beach and draw an imaginary line out to the horizon, you can see about 3 miles, and you would still be at sea level when you get there. Now, if that imaginary line went up at a rate of 1 inch per 10 feet towards the horizon, where would it be when you reach that 3-mile mark? You would actually be 132 feet over the water. So how does that apply to me reading more books and somehow changing my life? Well, if we just estimate that it takes me about 5 hours to listen to an audiobook, usually listening on like 2 to 3 times speed, then after 1 year of listening 10 minutes per day, that's 60.8 hours of audiobook, and about 12 more books every year that I'm able to complete. So how does this apply to your life? This concept can be applied to just about everything. The simple one is finances. You put money in the market, and over time, the amount that you put in is dwarfed in comparison to the amount of compounding interest that you generate. But what about with your relationships? If you were to do one small thoughtful thing for your significant other every day, what would that look like over a long period of time? Don't you think it might make a big difference? The important thing to remember with most big life changes is that they don't happen overnight. I know everyone wants you to believe that they have the secret to getting happier and wealthier and in better shape with 3 simple fixes overnight. Well, the reality is that kind of thing just doesn't really exist. It's just small incremental changes over a long period of time. So how can you leverage the compound effect to never have to make another SMART goal for the rest of your life? It's simple. You just start measuring the inputs rather than measuring the outputs. When you make a goal, what is that goal really? It's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's the destination at the end of the journey. But far too often in life do we find ourselves at the end of the yellow brick road, and instead of finding the answer to our prayers, we just find some guy behind a curtain. The goal that you finally achieve loses its luster, and you have to set an even bigger goal to feel like you're making any sort of progress. Because we are very dopamine-driven animals, when the only reward that you get is after this long period of time to get this long-awaited goal, it usually just doesn't feel like enough, and we very quickly go back to how we felt before. There's actually a term for this, and it's the Honic Treadmill. Life quickly readjusts to how it was before. So what I've done is change my narrative from, this is the goal that I want, to, what are the actions that make up the goal that I previously wanted to reach? And once you have the answer to that, you no longer have to wait until the end to get that dopamine response. Let's work backwards from my book example earlier. If I wanted to read 12 more books in a year, that works out to 1 book per month. And if we break it down even further, we know that it was 10 minutes per day. So instead of waiting until the end of the year to find out if I even reached this arbitrary goal that I set, instead I can ask myself every day, did I listen to 10 minutes of the audiobook today? And if I did, then yay, great. I actually get that dopamine response, which then in turn makes it even more likely for me to do it tomorrow. And when we project that out over the ocean like we did before, we find that we did reach that goal, but we got more benefits and dopamine rewards along the way. The final reason that I stopped setting big goals is actually the other side of the dopamine coin, and that's the negative emotions that come with when you don't meet your goal. Yes, it's a great feeling when you do finally complete your great big SMART goal, but what about when you don't quite hit the mark? Well, instead of dopamine, our brains actually release cortisol, which makes us feel stressed and uncomfortable, and makes us less likely to engage in similar acts in the future. But by measuring our inputs instead, we get to live in this thing that I like to call the sphere of control. This big circle is every possible thing that could be happening to us or in the world around us. And this is us. And this small circle around us is the sphere of control. Just like the name suggests, we're only able to influence or control the things in our life that lie in this immediate circle. It's one of the big reasons that I don't watch the news. I can't control anything that's happening on there, so why would I allow it to pull from my time and energy? I view my goals the same way. When we set huge goals without really knowing what actions will help us achieve them, We're relying on a lot of things outside of our control to help us get there. But by breaking down these goals into much more manageable daily inputs, we're operating inside the sphere of control. You get to choose the manageable daily inputs, which in turn allows you to remove the negative emotions that come with large-scale failure from things completely out of our control anyways. So there you have it, 3 ways that I've been able to accomplish more by not setting bigger goals. And if you enjoyed this, then maybe you'll enjoy this other video where I talk about 4 expert tips to lead a more productive life. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one.